So Marvel is coming out with a new Fantastic Four movie, The First Steps, in summer 2025. And me personally, I can't wait for it. It's gonna be set in another universe, so yes, more multiverse stuff. But it'll be a retro futuristic world set in the 1960s, which is very cool, very Jetson-esque, you know? And in this film, Galactus is gonna come and try to eat the world. And it's up to the Fantastic Four to stop them. Starting their debut film in the MCU with one of the best storylines in the Fantastic Four comics. Perfect. All of this sounds amazing, and I fully believe it's gonna make a ton of money, like I'm gonna go see it. But this is also where the issues start to form, guys. And these are lasting issues that could potentially lead to another downfall arc for Marvel. Because number one, the fact that Galactus is here right now is crazy. He is this huge, imposing figure that's been hinted at for years now, I think since the Eternals. And there's not that many beings left that are as opposing or even as beloved as this antlered up man god. Like sure, there's Noel from Venom's last movie, Death herself because of the future Deadpool movies, and since he's single now, him and Death are gonna mingle like they do in the comics. Basically, of all of these universal cosmic level threats, whatever you want to call them, Galactus is one of the best and is arguably the most famous. So the first main issue is, this movie really runs a risk of turning an Avengers Endgame kind of villain into your run-of-the-mill sort of thing, like how they did with Yellow Jacket, who's a very interesting character in the comics, but they still reduced him down to a standard, forgettable villain in the first Ant-Man movie, by taking away one of the only things that made this character interesting in the first place, which was Darren's heart condition. Plus, this movie really runs the risk of desensitizing us to Galactus, just like how they did with MODOK and Taskmaster, making his potential future appearances in movies feel less impactful. Because literally no one's gonna care if they come back now, unless they do something crazy to these characters again. And the more they do things like that, the more it'll lead to quote-unquote superhero fatigue in people. So in order for this to work, they have to make Galactus appear as this huge, ominous looming being, something that when you look at him, you feel fear and hopelessness in order to make a lasting impact on the audience. And they have to do this every single time he's on the screen. That way, if and when he does show up in Secret War, which is most likely gonna happen since it happened in the comics, we actually feel excited again, leading back to how we all felt watching the first phases of the MCU. So yeah, they just have to do this god justice. Only then will they start making better movies again and have these big villains kind of be like semi-recurring characters and still make it work like in comics and TV shows. Because if not, then they're just gonna back themselves in a corner by using all the big event source materials really quickly and still messing up the execution.
Jesus Christ.
Issue number 2. The Silver Surfer being a woman. I used to hate this sort of thing, and I low-key still do. But if they make an interesting creative change alongside this gender swapping, then I'm fine with it, even if the general consensus sometimes doesn't like the change. But Disney just has a terrible track record with gender swapping famous characters in the most non-creative ways possible, to the point to where it just comes across as them ticking off boxes so they can get more money. So when it was revealed that the Silver Surfer was gonna be a woman, people were understandably pissed. Because he has 2 female heralds already that are arguably cooler than the Silver Surfer himself. The silver lining here is that the actor taking on this role will be playing Shala Bal, who's the wife of the OG one. And since this is set in another universe, this tells me that Shala Bal is going to be the one to give herself up to Galactus and be a servant in order to save her planet. And that's not the worst, because it'll be interesting to see her experience being a herald and how her personality as the surfer compares to the original. But it still causes a problem, because where is she gonna fit into the main continuity? Fans speculate that Marvel is going to do some kind of soft reboot after Secret Wars, but we don't know how that's going to look, and I'll talk about all of that in a future video. But yeah, we don't know how this reboot will play out, and that's the issue. It'll be cool if this Silver Surfer was only for this movie. That way we can see an interesting conversation between this Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer in the main timeline, since I'm pretty sure Galactus is gonna win and eat their Earth, which is gonna lead to the team having to flee to another universe to survive. And Doom is somehow gonna hitch a ride or maybe do something with other universes in the back end, which will then lead to Avengers Doomsday. But yeah, either way it goes, I'm just not sure what's gonna happen to the main Silver Surfer after this supposed reboot. And if she somehow happens to be the main surfer, that'll be incredibly stupid when there's other 2 heralds. And the final problem I have with this movie is Robert Downey Jr. being Dr. Doom. Now, y'all need to know just how amazing this character is. Like, this man is incredibly smart, dominating, and ruthless. He's beaten the Avengers on multiple occasions and defeated cosmic-level threats by the use of advanced technology and sorcery, which is so cool to me. He's more than willing to expand his horizons in order to achieve his goals. Plus, he's even got his own country. But they're walking a fine line between being unique and innovative by using RDJ's massive star power to pretty much guarantee butts in movie seats versus just coming across as a confusing take on the character, bro. I don't know how many of y'all are aware, but Tony Stark and Dr. Doom have a lot in common low-key. Both parallel each other with their rivalry with Mr. Fantastic. They have huge egos, a need for control, which Tony eventually overcomes, an advanced suit of armor, and way more things. Like, they have a lot in common. But still, they're two distinct personalities since Iron Man strives to be a selfless hero, whereas with Doom, that's not the case. But now you want to introduce the potential main continuity Dr. Doom as the same actor as Iron Man? And now what's gonna come out of this? Is this a variant of Tony Stark? If he is, then is this version gonna become Tony Stark again somehow and come back in the supposed soft reboot after Secret War? If that happens, then what's gonna happen with the main Dr. Doom in Earth 616? Does that mean they're just gonna introduce another one and this one's gonna be sent off somewhere else after he's defeated? You know, I don't know. And the worst part is that RDJ made Iron Man who he is. He popularized this man so much. So depending on how he does acting wise, it'll most likely be hard seeing Dr. Doom as his own character versus just a Tony Stark variant or, you know, something like that. And that's not cool. Doom deserves more than that. So yeah, these are the main issues I have with this movie. But what do y'all think? What are y'all's theories and concerns in regards to this movie? Will Galactus win? Will Dr. Doom be a Tony Stark variant? And how do you think this supposed soft reboot is gonna look? I still think it's gonna do amazing in the box office because of the star power, but also because it genuinely seems like a good movie. The director really seems to know what he's doing, and yeah, I'm about to nerd out for a bit, don't judge me. But I love the direction this movie is going, and I love the aesthetic of it all. I believe that finally, after years and years of Marvel fans expressing how terrible the MCU has gotten, I think they're finally making an effort to fix those said issues by hammering down on the family aspect of this team and appealing to both comic fans and casual fans with their casting choices, Easter eggs, and scenery. But the lasting effects that could happen after this might not be so good, but only time will tell. Till then, I'll keep making videos about it. Peace out.